Laying out the clear yet unclear picture for the Texans in crunch time. Nick Caley, he spoke, plus conversations with Jalen Pitre, Woody Marks, a lot of stuff to get into. What a tough team this is. Let's go. Hit it, Grifty.
Yeah. It's the Locker Room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey, Locker Room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the post.
It was an interesting day of practice. It is a Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content. I am Landry Locker. I will be at Spanky's. SNL will be at Spanky's tomorrow. We are so close to being at Spanky's tomorrow. Sharpstown, Bel Air location. We'll be there. Bring a toy. You get a free raffle ticket, happy hour, all that. The gatherings are always fun. They're especially fun when there's some good stuff to talk about. Was at practice today per the usual, and really some good news and some news that with a little bit of uncertainty when it comes to two guys. Nick Chubb, he remained out. Of the guys that were out on Wednesday, Nick Chubb remains out. I would be kind of surprised if he plays. Kamari Lassiter was out. Some say that he might need some rest. But then Woody Marks, he was there. Trent Brown was there. Sheldon Rankins was there. DeMeco's was there. And Azeez Al-Shaair was there. So relatively healthy, a little bit banged up. Two very crucial pieces down the stretch. Two guys that I think add to what is really a tough football team. Like we can talk about the weaknesses, and Nick Caley spoke. He's one of the face of one of the weaknesses and one of the biggest uncertainties, but this is a really tough football team. I think Kamari Lassiter is one of many on the defensive side, and I think Woody Marks is one of the skill position guys on that side. So it's an interesting time to watch this squad, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens on Sunday. We'll lay out the playoff picture in a sec. First, a little opportunity courtesy of the greatness that is Sleeper. And my dad is a sleeper-holic now. He just sent me his sleeper picks for today. He won. He hit that Thursday night football slate. And I never thought my dad would love Sleeper as much as he does, but he does. And everybody who tries it does as well. You can get right now $20 free. Just use the promo code LOCKER. You can also get 100% match up to $100. Just use that promo code LOCKER. You can do that, but that's not all. Opportunity to get $100. Step one, you trail the community slip, which I'll give you in a sec. Step two, you email a screenshot of your picks. It can be $1, it can be $5, it can be $10, it can be whatever. You just email that to hmasleeperpicks@gmail.com. The winner will get $100. This is what we're going with the slip. Here is this week's slip, and it's all Arizona. Now, Mike Evans, I had him as under one touchdown, and I think I'm good there. So I am good there. You don't have to put the Mike Evans since that game already concluded. He did have a hell of a lot of yards. So I did not go with the yards. The yards went to Godwin and no Mike Evans touchdowns. So that is a check mark there, although wasn't incredibly easy. And then we're going CJ Stroud over 223.5 yards. Woody Marks, no touchdown. Jaden Higgins, touchdown. And then McBride with no touchdown. So there you go. It's 8.6. Just screenshot that, trail it, email it to hmasleeperpicks@gmail.com, and you could win 100 sleeper bucks. Most of you are playing sleeper anyways, so it's all fun regardless. We'll see what happens. Now, Woody Marks, the reason that I'm picking under on Woody Marks is I think he's banged up, and I think the Texans have kind of used him a little bit too much. I've gotten some messages. I find this funny. I think got you guy a lot of times he gets me. Like the people in this chat, the people in this community, the people we interact with, like a lot of times you get got. Like you say something and then in the fluid process that is sports, it ends up not being true. And there is a little bit of a got you element. But there's also like kind of a little bit of a weird attempt a lot of times to play got you guy when it just doesn't make sense. Like you're basically exposing yourself as a little bit of a simp. And it's happened a few times on SNL, and it's happened here where Woody Marks, who we've been saying needs to get the largest chunk of the pie when it comes to the running back position, he starts getting too much. And now it's like, well, you said you wanted him to get it more. And now all of a sudden you're saying that he's getting it too much. Yeah, there is a middle ground there. There is a middle ground between this guy should get more carries than Nick Chubb. And I think 60-40 was always what I said. There's a middle ground between this guy should be touching the ball more than 8 times a game, and you're going to run this guy into a wall 30% of the time. That's like saying that someone needs to eat more carbs, and then all of a sudden they're eating CC's pizza every day, and someone's like, "Hey, you're saying they're eating too much CC's pizza? What are you saying? You said that he needed more carbs." No, Woody Marks is not built to do this. We see Woody Marks get hurt all the time, and that's the problem. And I think DeMeco Ryans has spoken on this. I think Nick Caley has spoken on this. I think the schedule, fortunately for the Texans, is laid out to where they might be able to let Woody Marks chill a little bit and protect him from himself, because maybe in the playoffs you're going to have to do this, but you can't be doing this all the time. He's not going to hold up, especially when other teams are stacking the box and you're running him into a wall. So, yes, we thought Woody Marks needed more carries. Unfortunately, this running back room is not great, but yes, there is such thing as too much. So don't tell on yourself and make yourself look like a simp by acting like you don't understand that there is a little bit of middle ground. Now, Cody Stoots asked the question, and Cody will be out at Spanky's as well. I'm going with the WAP, wings and pizza, tomorrow. Cannot wait. I'm going to starve myself until then. I will get the wings. I will get Miller Lights, and I will get a pizza. I don't know what kind of pizza that yet, though. I haven't decided, but I will definitely be doing that. But here is Nick Caley talking about what Cody said and what we've been talking about with perhaps using Woody Marks and being able to rest him a little bit. Here's what Nick Caley had to say about it here live in the
You got to be able to use the guys we have available at the game. Obviously, Nick going down impacts some things, but certainly never want to get so heavy as to where you're getting into a situation like that. But being able to, we have faith in all those guys, being able to find a good rhythm and be able to spell certain situations, down distances, to be able to offset some of that so the volume doesn't get so high. And we are fresh in the fourth quarter, and Woody's a warrior. He does a great job. He's getting better every single week. Certainly want to be mindful of that, to your point, too.
Yeah, and I think that he understands that. I think most logical people understand that. It's just the weird gotcha guy, goofy stuff that just kind of doesn't get it. But there is definitely a middle ground. I also do respect that sometimes you just got to deal the cards that you're dealt. Sometimes that means that you're asking guys to do stuff that maybe they shouldn't do. Like if Joe Mixon were on this team, or if they had a running back that they trusted to carry the load, then maybe we wouldn't see this. And maybe we'd even, in fairness, my biggest criticism of Nick Caley, maybe we would see Woody Marks used more in the pass game. I sympathize with Nick Caley. A lot of people might find it hard to believe, but I sympathize with Nick Caley when it comes to what he has to work with. But at this point, with 4 games remaining, 2 of those games against chicken crap squads, you've got to ice Woody Marks up. Now, it's unfortunate. Now Nick Chubb, I think, is probably going to be iced up for perhaps an extended period of time, although that tough SOB might be out there tomorrow too. He's got that old man strength, but I would not anticipate that. But you do have to find the balance. You do have to figure it out. And that's something that they're going to have to do. Fortunately for them, with the way the schedule is laid out, you got the soft spot right here. And it's a soft spot where you could actually, and we'll hear from Woody Marks in a second, it's a soft spot where you can actually probably do that and rest up with Woody Marks and be able to figure that out. H-Town Stay Down just said something. I don't know whether to RC this or not. I don't know whether you're saying this or not.
Race car.
Said Landry looks like Jared Goff. Dude, a couple people have told me that. I don't see it. But if you do think all white guys look alike, you could say that. I've heard people say that though before. That's not like the worst thing. I've been said that I look like worse. But yeah. I have actually heard that before, but that could be an RC in the chat. Look at the Alpha Aaron, the Alpha.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
The Alpha was doing his thing today. He was beast mode. Shout out to the Alpha. So let's lay out this playoff situation. This is ESPN's playoff simulator. If you just look at this and you look at the layout, these are the chances of postseason based on percentages and based on proactively looking ahead at who the Texans play and all that type of stuff. And if you look at the percentages, and I'm putting the graphic over the 5, which is at 11%. But the 3, 5, and 6 seeds seem the most likely for the Texans. A lot of people say, well, there's a long shot at the 2 seed. Not really. It's not. It just doesn't really add up that way to where there's a decent chance of that. So you have a 28% chance at the 3 seed, which would mean winning the division, which would mean you have to finish probably 4-0. I mean, 4-0, 3-1 would be generous with the Jags schedule, although the Jags do have Denver. So you have a 28% chance at 3 seed. Then at the 5 seed, you have an 11% chance. And then the 6 seed, you have an 18% chance right now when it comes to making the playoffs. And then 7 seed, 27%. So any of these, the worst for me, if you ask me, what is the one thing that I think that the Texans should want to happen, even more so than winning the division? And some of you might say this is crazy. And some of you might say I'm living in fear, which, hey, I'll take it if you want to accuse me of it. But I think you want to avoid the possibility of having to go to Buffalo, because as much as the Texans are looking up at these teams and they're looking at Denver, they're looking at New England, they're looking at Pittsburgh. By the way, something wrong with TJ Watt too. But you're looking at Pittsburgh, you're looking at Jacksonville, and you're saying, damn, I'm damn sure not scared to go there. Buffalo's saying the same thing. And I know that the Texans head-to-head have had their way with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, but none of those games that we speak of and that we speak so highly of were in negative temperature weathers in Buffalo. It's a little bit different. I mean, that is a place where a lot of times the weather is so cold and it's so bad that they have fucking residents shoveling snow. They have to postpone games. That's how bad it gets in Buffalo in the playoffs. So Buffalo's saying the exact same thing. And if Buffalo is ahead of you, and let's say the Texans go on the road and they take care of business, and let's say Buffalo goes on the road and they take care of business, and the Texans are the 7 seed and Buffalo's the 5 seed, then when push comes to shove, you'll have to go to Buffalo. So that, to me, getting above the Buffalo Bills would be the ideal scenario. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals could have helped. They definitely could have helped, and they definitely did not help at all. So now you got to kind of wonder what's going to happen in the Buffalo-New England game. New England's not losing the division, but if Buffalo wins, they kind of push themselves up, and their schedule's not overwhelmingly difficult. But if you're asking me the most important thing, even more so than winning the division, but winning the division is obviously connected to this, but it's not necessarily just to win the division. Okay, let me rephrase that. Winning the division would prevent you from playing Buffalo. If that weren't a possibility, I don't think it would be as important. But I think the number one thing that you should fear is having to go to Buffalo, if that makes sense. So you can say winning the division, but if Buffalo weren't a factor, I wouldn't give a rat's ass about winning the division. Like if Buffalo was stuck at the 7 seed, let's say Buffalo was the 7 seed and the Texans were going to be the 6, I wouldn't care about the division. I care more about the Texans avoiding having to go to Buffalo, because that place is hellacious. Spoiler alert, if that happens, John McClain's going to bring up the Oilers-Bills collapse probably 776 times on Twitter during the week. So be on the lookout for that. Let's go to the chat.
Swarm.
ESG Soccer says, we need that USDA Jeezy white girl soundboard tonight. Caley needs to whoop next 4 soft opponents. Still Caley out. Who is our RB2? Not Dari. Dari's RB2, man. Dari's at RB2. There's no doubt about that. Dari's RB2. Like I don't even know if it's even close. I don't know how much they trust any of these guys in reps. They very much value pass pro. And I don't know that Dari's even like that great at pass pro, but that's what they value. So that's where they're at on that. So I would say that as far as Jeezy, I don't F with Jeezy, man. I don't F with Jeezy, brother. I'm a Gucci guy, big time Gucci guy, not like a fake Gucci guy, big Gucci guy. All 4 phases of Gucci, all 4 phases. Probably have like 20 Gucci mixtapes from the first jail stint to the second jail stint to the brick factory to the Ferrari boys, all that. So I'm not really a Jeezy guy. I actually asked Woody Marks off camera because he's an Atlanta guy. I said, Jeezy or Gucci? What do y'all think? What do y'all think Woody Marks said? When I asked Woody Marks, Jeezy or Gucci off camera, what do you think he said? I'll tell you in a sec, but let's hear from the man first. Woody Marks, we caught up with him. He's been hurt. He's been banged up. For a guy that they said really was kind of shy and didn't talk much, this guy's kind of been like a go-to this season. And he's been a go-to when it comes to running back. They need to minimize that a little bit. But I enjoy hearing Woody Marks talk. Let's hear what Woody had to say. I'll tell you whether he said Jeezy or Gucci after we hear from him.
How you feeling physically? It feels like you've been kind of roughed up a little bit the last few weeks, but you always seem to find a way to go back in. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Last game, guys were attacking it at my knees, so kind of a little soreness right there, but nothing major. I'm always go back in the game if I can. If I'm not tremendously hurt, I'm gonna go back in. Just lay it on the line for my brothers.
What was it like going to Kansas City? I know the coaches will always say it's just another game, and players try to repeat what the coaches say, but it has to be cool to go beat Mahomes and company in Arrowhead.
It was amazing. Just knowing the backstory, what we had talked about in the locker room with Aziz. That was the last time they was there. They played them, and they came back here. It was a bad taste in the mouth. I think that was Aziz. I think he got hurt that game, and just listening to him and all the guys, I wasn't here, so just hearing that, it made me play even more hard.
Now, I hate cold weather. You're Georgia, Mississippi State, LA, and now Houston. You can't love the cold, right?
Nah, for sure. I love them heaters that they had on the sideline.
Yeah.
Just keep it staying warm. Most definitely having my fingers warm so I can hold on to the ball.
Caley talked a lot about those early starts to drives and how you guys have to be a little bit better on some of those. What do you think is the key to just getting those drives started a little bit better?
Everybody locking in on the details. Just coming out, not waiting the second down to punch somebody in the mouth. Go down the field, run the ball, pass the ball, not wait to second down to feel out the game. Basically the first half and coming out in the second half that we need to do better on.
Is it tough when they make adjustments and you see it when you look back? It's like, we were just kind of one block or one this or one that away?
Yeah, most definitely. We did that. We watched that a little bit today in our meetings. Just watching runs that we could have that could have popped off. Just one block away. We said on special teams too. We one block away. We gotta find a way not to be one block away, and we can be touchdowns.
Now, I know you're a running back, but you're one of the best receiving backs in college past few years. Got that receiving touchdown. Mm-hmm. Which is better, receiving touchdown or rushing touchdown?
Rushing touchdown for sure.
Where do you get your toughness from? Something that DeMeco's praised, and we can see. Where does that come from?
It come from the enemy. It's my brothers. I want to lay it all on the field. I go down. I just know I laid it all. Never know when you'll play this game again. So while I'm in the game, I'm gonna play it. I don't know if I'm gonna be here tomorrow, but all I know is I'm gonna have people talk about me. He laid it on the line the last day he was here.
All right, there you go, Woody Marks. So ATL, yes, he is. He is very Atlanta. That's what CJ said about him. Kind of disappointed me though. He said he's more Jeezy than Gucci. Not a big supporter of that. I actually grabbed while I was going. I grabbed like my old CDs. They're just sitting back there. But you can see it's all Gucci. That's 4 Gucci right there. There There's 7 more Gucci's and then a Boosie and Webby right there. All Gucci. I think I have a Jeezy, maybe one. More Webby, Paul Walker, Millionaire, all that. Like it's all. I just don't really mess with the Jeezy. So all the stuff back in the day. So there we go. Shout out to Woody Marks and shout out to Nick Caley. Good old Nick. We'll hear from him in a sec, but let's get back to the take our eyes off our own paper and talk about the games that matter to the Texans. So we have the Ravens-Bengals, and this one's going to be interesting because I still think, do you fear the Ravens? Probably not. They're a shell of themselves. But if the Ravens get in, that means you have to go to Baltimore. They're not getting in with the wild card. It's hard to imagine the Ravens going 10-7 and getting in as a wild card team. So the Ravens' ticket to getting into the playoffs will be winning the division. And depending on if the Texans win the division, there could be a possibility you have to go to Baltimore, which is probably not something that you want to do. So you would have the Ravens hosting the Texans. Now, they're going to be battle tested. There's no icing up or anything like that. So if Lamar Jackson looks broken now, who knows what he looks like then, but that's not what you want. So Cincinnati didn't help you last week against Buffalo. I think this is a damn near pick 'em at this point. So you want the Ravens to take care of business or not take care of business, and maybe the Bengals can help you out a little bit. Then you go to Chargers-Chiefs. This is kind of a win-win. This is kind of a win-win. If the Texans are going to win all their games, then they're going to have the tiebreaker over the Chargers because one of those games is against the Chargers. So if you think the Texans could go 4-0, then you probably just want the Chargers to win and knock the Chiefs out. Chiefs are going to be even more desperate this week than they were last week. They have a 0% chance of making the playoffs if they lose this game. Chargers are vulnerable. Their offensive line is banged up. But the Chiefs and Chargers is a win-win. But if you think the Texans are going to go 4-0 and you think the Chargers is their only tough game, you can make a case here that the Chargers winning and just eliminating the Chiefs and really just kind of twisting the dagger after the Texans stuck it in. That's the way to go. Then you have Bills-Patriots. You want the Patriots to win this game so you can avoid going to Buffalo. I think this is the most important of all. You want the Bills to lose this game. Did I say win? Lose this game. And then they go down to 9-5. If you take care of business and you beat an Arizona team that you're favored to beat, then you're tied with them in the standings, which puts you above them because you have the tiebreaker. I got a feeling that a lot of people are going to pick the Bills to win this game. If the Patriots win it and the Texans win, this would add to, and this would be the most important thing because it would put you above the Bills and it would eliminate, assuming that you take care of business, you'll control your own destiny to avoid the possibility of having to go to Buffalo. So I very much support that. And that would be probably the best thing that could happen to the Texans. And then there's the Colts going to Seattle against the Seahawks. As far as just getting into the playoffs, the Colts, if they fall off, then you're good. So if the Texans win and the Colts lose, the Colts are then a couple games behind you. They also have another tough game next week, and you play them at the end of the season. There's a chance that if the Colts lose their next two and you win your next two, that you've already clinched the playoff spot. That one, the Seahawks, the line is up to 14. So you should be good there. And then you have the Jets at Jags. The Jets, they suck. But a lot of people are kind of wondering, how can the Jags screw this up? They've been known to screw up a lot. They got the Jets, they got the Colts, they got the Titans remaining on the schedule. You sprinkle in a little bit of Broncos. Could the Jags screw it up? It's a real question. Crazier things have happened, though, especially when it comes to the Jags. So those are the games that you peep. Those are the games that you look at when it comes to the Texans and perhaps making a run. Frank Ross on the chat. I saw this being brought up. Said, I like that Frank Ross asked if you wanted the hardo answer to your question. He also gets me. Frank Ross is my boy. That's why I was disappointed by the BS mansplaining, and I'm glad that he's turned it around. I like Frank Ross. Frank Ross is my guy. He's a friend of the show. We've helped Frank Ross's charity. Me and Stoots, we love Frank Ross. He's very good at his job too, despite some of the stretches this year. But Frank Ross, he knows that I like to use the term hardo. He knows that I thought that he was being a little bit of a hardo earlier this year. And Frank Ross had an interesting answer to this. Because I know that you got to be a coach. You got to try to be a hardo, and you got to try to say every game is the same. The way that special teams performed last year in Kansas City, the final game of the season, I know how these guys are wired up and what it feels like when your season ends. You don't forget that feeling. There's some guys who win championships and they still get the sour taste in their mouth when they go back to places where they suffered losses like the one that the Texans and Frank Ross's special teams suffered in Kansas City. So Frank Ross, I asked him, we have the hardo coaching stuff. I didn't even use the word hardo. He just used it himself. Are you really going to say that this was just another game? Here's my boy Frank Ross talking about that.
I know coaches always say, it's just week to week, but for you personally, Kansas City obviously disappointing last year. Special teams not up to par in that game. Was it nice to go out there back to the scene of that and get it done? Was it a little bit bigger than just another week?
Man, you want the hardo answer, or do you want the? No, there's no I do operate in the cliche though. I do operate. There's no get back. There's no revenge. There's no that's. If you operate like that, this is a very honest answer. If you operate like that, you will not last. You can't. This business will beat you up in the sense of as a player, man, you never know where you're going to be active, inactive, practice. As a coach, every year, that's how it truly is. So if you don't, I'm blessed that I don't have this big, beautiful brain. I literally have to focus on that week. My retention, I'm not going to Harvard. I don't have that capacity. It's a blessing for my line of work that I got to stay in the present and be where my feet are. But when you have an emotional thing that is football is played with here and here. So when you bring this to me, you got to find a way to get over that hump. So I do think it means something, but it doesn't matter now. That is truly last week, man. I'm telling you, we're coming in. I'm bringing every single thing that we have to the Arizona Cardinals, and we have to find a way to get great, nice win streak. Win streaks do not matter. It is Sunday at noon at home at NRG, and we're going to have an elite level of focus, elite level of preparation for this team coming up.
All right, there you go. There you go. Frank Ross knows what the deal is. He's my guy, man. He's my guy. That's why I was so disappointed in Frank. He's our guy, friend of the show. The great Frank Ross. That dude. And the special teams are back. They needed it. Now, can they get the offense back? Was the offense ever here? Depends who you ask. Some would say no. I'm very skeptical about this offense. Nick Caley, though, he spoke. Did Nick Caley make you feel better about the offense? Let's hear from old Nick. Here is Mr. Nick Caley talking about the offense and whether they can get it going. Can you turn it around, Nick? Apparently, Nick's confident. Now, are you confident in Nick? That's the more important question here in the locker room. But here's Nick Caley talking about his confidence.
Nick. Last week was not a clean game. So to say that we're on the cusp, coming up last week, I feel like it's in us to do that. And we play clean at practice. That was the thing I think just you talked about last week. We don't see those pre-snap penalties, the illegal shifts and stuff like that. Those didn't rear their head, and then they rear their head in the game. So you sit there and you got, okay, what's the issues? How can we rid ourselves and put an emphasis on playing cleaner, getting our feet in the ground? Let's go. Good communication, good urgency. We've shown plenty of moments where we've had clean games and clean drives and stuff, but when we haven't, you see what the negative impact is on it. And again, to move forward and be at our best, we've got to rid that from our game.
See, I'm just not really buying it. And you know what? Sometimes it reminds me of whenever Nick Caley is trying to sell you this stuff, like sell you a bad product. It reminds me of when I was shopping for turf before I found Texans turf. Shout out to Dan the man, my guy. It stinks shopping for turf. Those turf folks, sometimes they're just not, they're not honest. There's a bunch of word salad. They half-ass stuff. The performance isn't great. They still want to jack up the cost. That's not what happens with Texans turf. Texans turf is not Nick Caley when it comes to turf. They're very good at what they do. There's no off days. There's no corners cut. They cover every corner of your fence. That's what they do. That's what Dan does. That's what he did for me. That's what he did for my neighbors. That's what he's done for a lot of viewers. And that's what he can do for you. It sucks. Most of the turf guys, they sound like Nick Caley when they're trying to sell you something. And they put out the same quality product as this Texans offense. That's not the case with Texans turf. Whether you want a putting green, playing area, playing surface, they got you covered. The kids will love it. The pets will love it. You'll love it. Your house will be worth more, and it will be lovely. No more insects, no more dirt. Texans turf. Let Dan the man do for you what no one else can. Don't let Nick Caley look after your home. Let Dan do it. TexansTurf.com. And Nick Caley says he's confident. And I'll be honest, I'm not really overly confident in what Nick Caley is selling. It's not buying it. It's not buying it. So it is what it is at this point. You got to overcome it. It's just really got to suck less. That's where I'm at. Suck less. And against Kansas City, I guess it sucked less. It wasn't great for that third quarter. It was pretty bad, but it sucked less. And the reality of it is you're not going to really be able to test yourself and really get a full grasp for the remainder of the regular season. You remember when the Texans roughed up the Ravens, the depleted Ravens, and they did what they did against the Tennessee Titans in the fourth quarter, and it was like, oh, the offense is grooving. They were playing shit teams. That's what they're doing the next 2 weeks. Playoffs, they're not going to play shit teams. You can even say the Chargers, not necessarily a shit team, although they're not what they have been, and they're a little bit depleted. But you're not going to get the full test of this offense. So they're just going to have to gut it out, and maybe Nick Caley's like a big playoff performer. Maybe Nick Caley is like the Mark Sanchez of AFC championship runs, and he's just able to flip that switch and be just good enough and complement a defense. Maybe he's like Mark Sanchez. Maybe he's like Blake Bortles in 2017, where he can just be good enough and not suck as much as they have. That's really the confidence in Nick Caley. But as far as like the next 2 weeks being some sort of measuring stick of improvement, like forgive me for not thinking that going out there and functioning better against the Raiders than you did at Arrowhead or against the Buffalo Bills is some sort of improvement. Don't be fooled by that. Forgive me if I don't think beating the Raiders is like some sort of improvement. Don't be fooled by that. We know what they want to do. We know what he needs to do. The beauty of it is he's going to have that opportunity. Barring some just astronomical collapse in which if they don't make the playoffs, Nick Caley's not going to be here. Nick Caserio might not be here. DeMeco's not going anywhere. But we're not going to get some sort of grasp and some sort of measurement of this offense being better for a while. Chargers, yes. Like Chargers for sure. Chargers for sure. You can figure that out. And maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll be able to measure something. But the next 2 weeks, come on. Like you've like learn from what we've seen previously. The Titans and the depleted Niners and the depleted Ravens, like if you bought that and then you realize what you saw when they started playing good teams, don't buy it. Don't buy it. The most important thing that they can get right now is health. Woody Marks, Nick Chubb, get right. Offensive line, get healthy, and be a fully healthy offense heading into the playoffs. That's it. Now, suck less, cool. But these are you're not, Stoots brought up the analogy earlier today. You're not taking the SAT, you're taking practice tests. So that's where it's at. You got it. That's how you figure it out. And the other thing that they got to figure out, and this was, I'll criticize CJ Stroud whenever he needs to be criticized because he has a standard. He has a standard. and you judge people based on standards. I've realized what Nick Caley is. Suck less, flip the switch. That's it. I'm not buying anything you're selling. You're the non-Texans turf companies to me. But with CJ Stroud, the super skill that CJ Stroud has is he's able to extend plays, and he's able to turn chicken-ish into chicken salad and save all butts a lot of the time. It's cool. It can also be frustrating at times where CJ Stroud runs into sacks. The Seattle game, he should have ran into a safety, should have given up a touchdown. It's frustrating. But when I watch CJ Stroud against the Chiefs, I'll tell you this, they don't win that game without him doing what he did on third down. This was not a matter of CJ Stroud needs to hang in the pocket and make plays. This was not CJ Stroud bailing early. His instincts were very good. And it's probably a good thing that he is self-aware and he is being hard on himself. And CJ Stroud is saying, man, you can't win like this. Because he's right. But in the situation and the card that he's been dealt, it might be the only way you can win. It might prevent the Texans from getting where they want to get, and he might not have a choice. So I hope CJ Stroud is still open and doing what he's really, really good at. And when he has the opportunity to play within the offense, that CJ Stroud does that. I asked Nick Caley about that, because I don't want them to take that away from CJ Stroud. Now, if you're blocking for him all the time, it's completely different. But they can't take that away from CJ Stroud. So you don't want to get to a point where you're taking away the super skill. And with the way this offense functions, the only really hope that you have of winning games against good teams, CJ Stroud can play within the offense, I'm sure, the next 2 weeks. Is that going to happen when he goes to New England or Denver? Or even Pittsburgh? I would bet against it. Maybe not even Jacksonville. But I asked Nick Caley about that balance, and here's what he had to say.
Talked about making plays off script. He said you can't live with that. But what is it like? You obviously want him to play within the offense, but there's also kind of a trade-off where, sometimes he's taking a sack, but other times he's finding Nico for 50 yards. Like, how do you coach that where you want him to stay within the offense and not completely eliminate big plays like that?
Yeah, I mean, we call our plays, we have designs. He's got a great ability to play off schedule and instincts, and he's shown that throughout his career. So you never want to coach instincts out of anybody. So there's a lot of things like that he has a great feel for space in the pocket and the timing of things, and he does a good job when the pocket breaks down and he gets out of the pocket off schedule. He does a good job with his eyes down the field, and he's comfortable doing those things. So he's made some huge plays for us, obviously last game especially, but he's continued to do that throughout his career. And we got our plays, but some things are going to break down, and he's got a good awareness of, where guys are in space and making good decisions with the ball. And I've been proud of him. He's taken good care of the football and done some really big things when those things have gone off schedule.
You just got to be more. You got to be more open than some of the New England blowhards, and you got to realize it's just the card that's being dealt. It's just the card that's being dealt to CJ Stroud. Speaking of cards being dealt, one of the best cards that can be dealt around here is that Texans debit card from TDECU. Cody Stoots has it. A lot of customers at TDECU are viewers. A lot of people have become new customers. It's the best place that you can bank. TDECU.org/Texans. 15% off the Texans team shop with the card. If you don't want the new Texans logo, you're a little bit traditional. They got the Cougs. They got the Buckies. They got everything. TDECU is the best. Proud sponsor of Reaction Monday. Proud sponsor of CJ Stroud. And it's a good card that's being dealt as opposed to the offense that CJ Stroud and the surroundings that he has been dealt. Let's hear more from Nick Caley on the pressure when it comes to what the Chiefs did, which is kind of what the Bills did and what that looks like moving forward.
You got to put good tape out there, and you got to be clean with those things. So the thing you do is you address the problems, you see what the issues were, if it's communication, if it's a fundamental, if it's a technique deal, and then like every week we go to work and we try to work on the third down game plan, protection plan, and then always use to work on pressures that may have come up throughout the year that we got to get fixed and cleaned up.
Okay. It's interesting. I mean, I don't know if there's is there a blueprint laid out? Because you look at the Kansas City second half and you look at the Buffalo second half, and that's less than 100 yards in the second half. And the question I have is it a blueprint? Or is it just the fact that this offense against good teams is going to eventually and inevitably disappear? Because as I was saying before that happened, is there a blueprint, or is there just a simple fact that the offense is going to struggle? Is it just inevitable? That's really the question that there is to ask when it comes to Nick Caley and it comes to the Texans offense. I don't think there's like some sort of blueprint. I just think it's inevitable that that's what's going to happen. I was looking at this, and I think my computer might have broken because I poisoned my eyes with this. But people are asking about like nicknames for the defense, and I saw on the chat, I think as soon as I clicked this is when we had the issue. But at PPR says, somebody asked Landry which one he likes more, Lords of Swarm or Legion of Swarm. I hate them both. I don't even know that this Texans defense needs a nickname. I was looking at Jonathan Alexander. I actually replied to him during the Caley, and maybe this is the right nickname because it shut my stuff down. But Jonathan Alexander's asking for a defensive nickname, and he said, best suggestion I've got from a fan was Area 713. That sucks. Area 713, my goodness. That's terrible. I don't know that they need a nickname. It was Blob, Baby Legion of Boom for a little bit, but that doesn't even hit. Frank Z says I froze like Han Solo. I don't know who Han Solo is. That's Star Wars, right? Is that Harrison Ford? I really don't know. Here's Nick Caley on the urgency. Let's hear Caley talking about urgency.
I mean, we can't have a lack of urgency. We got a better urgency, I would say. And I think the biggest thing is taken away from, our game. You want to clean things up. And then I think it goes to the way you practice, the way that you get in and out of the huddle, the way that you get your feet set, the way that, whether it's shifts, motion mechanics, et cetera, and just having a general overall urgency. Starting with me getting the play call in, the guys getting in the huddle, listening, being attentive, and being able to break the huddle and get our feet set. So you address it, you want to clean it up, but then it ultimately comes down, your behavior is going to be set based on how you practice it. And that's what we got to, start the week off. And, we got to get better in that regard for sure, all of us.
It's one of my pet peeves, though. Like, one of my pet peeves with football coaches, and I've talked about this for a while, but and I've asked Caley about this, but like, have you ever heard a coach heading into a game? Seriously, I'm being dead serious. This is not a trite question. This is not a leading question. And I will ask those sometimes just to kind of set myself up and kind of flow the conversation a certain way. But I'm being dead serious. I've seen one, the dude at Arizona State. I saw him do it in spring practice, and I didn't see it during a game week. But when is the last time that you saw a coach, even on a shitty football team? And there's probably more shitty football teams than there are good football teams. When's the last time that you saw a coach?
We in here talking about practice.
Say that they had a crappy week of practice. Like, when's the last time you saw that? You don't see that very often, do you? Matter of fact, more times than not, whenever they suck, just like Nick Caley just did, we practice it great. We practiced it. We practiced it awesome. It was great. We just got to play it like we practice. Here's my thing. And maybe this is just because these coaches, like, they earn entitlement. Like, NFL coaches earn entitlement. It's weird, but it's reality. And I think if you look at the NFL model, do you not find it a little bit bizarre that, and I think it's the right model. I think it's the appropriate model. I think the overdoing of player empowerment has ruined the NBA. I think it's kind of hurt the MLB as well, on top of magnitude, the elimination of time zones and stuff, which kind of benefit the NFL. But I digress. But you notice how, like, when an NFL player signs a contract, they've done a better job of getting fully guaranteed money. But like, for a lot of these contracts, it's like, it's not guaranteed. The money, like, A 3-year contract can essentially be a 2-year contract, like we're seeing with Dalton Schultz. A lot of times when a guy gets cut, they don't get all their money. Why do coaches in that business get their full contracts? Why does that make sense? Like that is like natural entitlement. And I swear I'm getting somewhere here. But I just think sometimes it's like these guys just think like they trust their process even when it's bad. And they're just trained to believe that everything they're doing is right. Some evolve, a lot of them don't. And a lot of the guys, even the hardos that don't evolve, they still end up coaching for a long time and they get multiple jobs. It happens all over the place. But if I'm studying for a test, and that didn't happen all the time, you don't spend 6+ years in college by studying for tests very often, unless you're a doctor or a lawyer, and I'm damn sure not a doctor or lawyer. I got a broadcast journalism degree. But if I study for a test, like the semesters where I was really like wired up and not drinking as much, maybe smoking more weed so that I could do better on tests. Not for everyone.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
But if I studied and then I bombed the test, like I would look back and say, well, maybe I didn't study right. Like I might have thought I was prepared going into the test, but maybe I didn't study right. Like maybe my studying wasn't as great as I originally thought it was. So maybe you're not fucking practicing right, coach. And this isn't just a Nick Caley thing. I'm not trying to pick on Nick Caley. I cover Nick Caley, so that's what I'm talking about. And he says it a lot. Like they talk about the process. Like last week, whenever few people watched a Dan Orlovsky video and all of a sudden they acted like the offense was on the right track. We knew it wasn't. And now those people just gone in hiding like Dan Orlovsky did after he said, "You have no idea what's going on with Deshaun Watson. If you had any clue," and then he's gone. And we're back where we're at. Digressing, tangent, whatever. But why is it that you trust your practice habits if you're not really going out there and doing stuff? What if you didn't study right? It works in like any other thing. What if you didn't study right? I don't get it. We practiced it awesome. Did you? Like, are you sure? You positive? It doesn't look like y'all practice it like great or whatever it is. It's just not getting done. So how do you know that? It's the process connection that we're talking about. We'll take a break from Nick Caley for a sec. He kind of wears me out sometimes. I've tried to channel the expectations, but he kind of wears me out sometimes with this word salad. I'm not really trying to eat a salad. I'm trying to eat some WAP, wings and pizza, tomorrow at Spanky's. But it's just not, if you thought that you practiced it right and you went out there, then maybe you didn't practice it right. Like maybe the way you're evaluating, maybe the way you're doing it, maybe it wasn't right. I mean, when you're a coach and you have a fully guaranteed contract in a world in which the players don't have guaranteed contracts, what do you really have to be accountable for? You really have to be accountable for. Doesn't make sense. Think about it. Like, do you ever watch those shows where like fat people try to lose weight and they like stand on a scale? And then when they stand on the scale, they either lose a ton of weight or they gain weight. And then every time they gain weight, they say, "I did everything right." And the dietitian will just sit there and say, "No, you didn't. Obviously you didn't, because you didn't lose the weight." Like the scales don't lie. I know there's a gray area in sports, but the results at some point don't lie. But coaches, they go up there. They're basically the 400-pounder who maybe they ate at McDonald's a few times or whatever. They stand on the scale and they go from 401 to 411 and they say, "Well, I did everything right to get to this point. I don't know how I gained 10 pounds. That's Nick Caley. He talks about practice. That's what he's doing. Like, how crazy do you have to be to say we do it right in practice when it's one of your biggest problems week to week? It's a great life they live, man. Shout out to them. It's a great life they live. And this isn't like some sort of gray area. Like there's a lot of things that where sometimes the results don't, the process doesn't, the results don't match the process. I'm not trying to go Nick Caserio process over results, but sometimes that happens. Sometimes it'd be like that. But we're literally watching you damn near get a delay a game out of a TV timeout. We're damn near watching you get the play late. We're watching the quarterback talk about how long the play calls are. We're hearing you say that the calls aren't getting in time. And we practice it right. Did you? It's enough. Let's hear from Jalen Pitre, Toad. So I wanted to ask Jalen Pitre about the Guardian cap. Because I actually think he kind of rocks it out. I actually think it's kind of swaggy with Jalen Pitre. I know people don't say swaggy these days. I'm getting old. I'm getting old. So a lot of my references perhaps a little bit dated. But I asked Jalen Pitre about the process of the Guardian cap, what he thinks of it. Here's what he had to say.
Went into the process of wearing the Guardian cap.
Yeah, it was ultimately a family decision. You know, after my concussion, it was a bit tough for me. You know, just coming back. It was probably the longest I've ever been out for the concussion. So after speaking with some family members, we all thought that it would be best for me to just keep that on and, you know, have my safety at the utmost importance, because, you know, I'm still gonna, when I get out there, I'm gonna still fly around. It's just about, you know, being safe with it as well.
Do you feel like you're pulling it off? I don't think everyone can. It just kind of feels appropriate. It kind of feels like you're actually kind of pulling it off. Is it kind of growing on you? Do you like the look?
I'm cool with it. You know, it's a little bit heavier, but I've been telling my teammates like you know, just try it out. I mean, they've tried it out. They've tried it out because we wear it at practice. But I say, like, just wear it a game and see, you know, how I feel.
You don't want it to be your thing?
Nah, I don't want it to be my thing. I want it to be our thing. I want hopefully the whole defense to get in there eventually.
I was wondering if you feel like you have the most swag of anybody wearing a Guardian cap right now, because we don't see a whole lot of highlights like the.
Yeah, I don't really even. It's crazy. I don't know many players, but I'm not trying to be the player with the most swag with the Guardian cap. I'm not trying to be an outcast. I'm just trying to blend in.
You get an endorsement deal, like you can be the face of it.
Yeah, that would be crazy too. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes.
It's appropriate on him. It looks solid. Not gonna lie, looks solid. On the chat,
Swarm.
Rick says black olive pizza for Landry. Hell no. I can fight through it on a Supreme now. Like black olives by themselves and olive juice makes me cringe. I can fight through it on a Supreme pizza. You gotta fight through it, but the bite's got to be at like an angle. It's like one of those things you just kind of squeeze to the back. But no, I hate olives. I hate olives big time. Green olives especially. Black olives I can fight through. Green olives I would not be able to fight through. Can't do it. Doyle says, challenge to Landry and Cody. Donate all the super chat money during Spanky's live stream to the kids' toy drive. That's kind of a pain because it kind of actually takes some time, and there's like a percentage that YT takes. Here's what I am doing. So I'll pull back the curtain on it. I'm going to target between practice and the DeMeco media availability, which I think tomorrow is like the big gap. There's like an hour 45. Let me see. Yeah, there's an hour 45 between the practice. So I am going to we got 10:30 practice, 30 minutes, 11. So we have like 90 minutes. There's the Target right across the street. I'm going there. I'm dropping at least 150 on toys. So I will not come empty-handed. So I can assure you, and I guess that's technically super chat money. I mean, it's my own money. So I'm definitely going to come there with a full bag of toys for sure. And you should too, Spankies. They got good salads, by the way. Now, I don't know if they have as good of salads as what Nick Caley provides us with every Thursday. Those are some thick salads. Like Nick Caley and the word salad, my goodness, that's like a damn whole bowl of Olive Garden salad with like extra cheese and croutons. Here's Nick Caley talking about the issues. Y'all tell me, is this word salad? Am I being too critical? I don't know. Let's hear old Nick with the salad.
Felt like in the third quarter we just couldn't really get out of our own way to start the drives, and certainly we got to do a better job. I got to do a better job, coaches, players, everybody, but we just could never get going. I mean, the 3 and outs are, we don't want that. So starting better on first and second down, which we did not do. We did that in the first half, and we were able to move the ball and keep it going. But in the third quarter was certainly a lull. And drive starters, positive plays, fundamentals, playing with good fundamentals so we don't have any negative runs or anything like that, good pass protection, all those things really boils down to fundamentals. But getting off to the right start each drive is imperative for our success.
They didn't have any penalties in that third quarter. Like that third quarter where they had -2, he talked about not getting in their own way. Like, does that mean missing blocks? Does that mean bad plays? What does it mean? Because they're the worst quarter, the worst stretches, there really haven't been penalties. I almost feel like, when like you're running late for something and there ends up being a wreck or there's like some traffic and you're like, thank God I got an excuse. I'm going to take a picture of the traffic and I'm going to send it to wherever I'm going. I'm already a minute late, 2 minutes late, but now I can just blame the traffic. There you go. Boom. Traffic. Sorry, hit traffic. And you send it to them. I feel like that's what they're like with false starts. It's like the offense is ass. It's 3 and out. There's no penalties. You're running into walls. You're getting -4 yards. You're getting sacked. And then all of a sudden it's like, yes, a false start. I can blame it on false starts. Yes, a holding penalty. Yes, I can blame it on that. We really got to go up there. I wish Nick's got the clean hat now, so I don't need the dirty. Yeah, we just got to get out of our own way. These self-inflicted wounds, the penalties, they really stop us from moving the ball. But coach, you had 4 straight drives of 3 and out. Yeah, we got to work on that too. Sometimes I think that the bad offenses are happy. Like the OCs are happy when there's like a false start or a holding penalty because you can blame it on that. It's just kind of funny sometimes. But they do got to be consistent. They do got to be consistent. So this is the final clip from Caley. Tomorrow we'll talk about the complimentary football. We'll hold that for tomorrow. I asked Nick Caley about the complimentary side where the defense is obviously carrying the offense. Like, is there any like pressure with a coach that comes to the Van Gundy theory of don't ignore in victory what you would not ignore in defeat? First though, let's hear from Nick Caley on that. And I'll ask him right off the top. Nick. Hello, sir. Would you like a super salad? He wants the salad.
Playing clean football consistently, eliminating pre-snap issues. Like we have to rid ourselves of that, and you can't. Again, we've had too many of them happen for too many weeks now. We got to clean that stuff up to give ourselves a chance to really stay on schedule, play well. And I think still want to continue to move the needle in the red area for sure. Same thing on third downs. Short yardage has been a point of emphasis. So those things I think across the board want to improve on everything. But I think first and foremost, not beating ourselves, especially prior to the ball being snapped.
What does that mean? Not beating ourselves prior to the ball being snapped. What is that? Penalty? Being late? I don't know. Is that stretch there wasn't penalties? You see what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, y'all see what I'm talking about. It is what it is, though. You know what, though? It really doesn't matter. Because in about 14 hours, I'll be at Spanky's. A lot of y'all will be at Spanky's. And it's always a good time at Spanky's. Bring a toy. Get a raffle ticket. Eat like a mofo. Drink like a mofo. Best happy hour in town. Best prices. You can't beat it. Army Manic 145 brought up Saved by the Bell. I don't know what the reference is, but I always appreciate a good Saved by the Bell type thing. Appreciate y'all for rolling through, man. I know that salad is not the most popular midnight snack, but hey, Thursdays are salad days, man. Fridays, you know what they are? They're WAP, wings and pizza days. Plenty more options, though, if you're not into that. See you tomorrow at Spanky's. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Texans, Cardinals. I haven't even really gotten into the Cardinals that much. I really just don't respect them. I don't respect them as an opponent. I feel like I'm making a mistake here. I don't want to guarantee a victory tomorrow at Spanky's. I might just have to, though. Who knows? See you there. Well, if you can't be there, see you on the stream. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, whether it's a soup, whether it's a salad, we're all in it together. Bye-bye.
We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up, we number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about.